guys, so this is What If Deku Was Frogman Part 1. Now this is a little what if an idea inspired by the She-Hulk series, because I'm like, the main thing I'm really excited for She-Hulk is probably, pretty much Abomination being free. He already got freed, spoilers, this episode, September 1st, the third episode, but basically I'm just really excited for the introduction of Frogman in this show. So yeah, so hope you guys enjoy this little, series I'm going to be making. It's probably going to last until like 2 weeks after the show ends. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and let's just dive right into this fan fiction. Let's start our story off with Deku's origin and how Deku would start off. Now, I'm going to be changing Deku's appearance a little bit. Deku will have red hair, green eyes, and basically have the same body posture as him in canon, but just the only thing changing would be, so he just has a ginger type of complexion. He has green eyes and red hair. So, or orange hair to be more precise. But basically what would happen is, Deku would have gone to, the same school. He would have been bullied by Bakugo the same. And he would have been born quirkless. Everything would have happened. But one key part of Deku's story would have changed, making this whole fan fiction completely different. In this fan fiction, Deku's family life was a little bit different. Now, Deku's mother would still be around, but she would be a lot more abusive than in canon. In this canon, Asashi would have died, and Inko would have turned to pretty much alcohol and other things to take the pain away from losing her husband. And she would still have Deku, and she would still love Deku, but over time she would start to become careless, not really caring for Deku, and eventually Deku having to raise himself by the time he was 13. As he would have to raise himself, making dinners and everything. By near the age of 11 or 10, Deku started to realize that his mother was not going to take care of him anymore. So by the time he was 13, Deku was functional enough to even pay the bills by himself, taking money out of his mom's wallet, paying the bills for her. Deku was so filled with rage and hatred for his mother, but still loved her because of those years prior of his mother being there with him and being caring for him before his father died. Now, Deku every day would visit his father's grave, but his father had a side job. And one day, Deku was 9, as he vividly remembers, his father was leaving the house with some sort of green type outfit in his, suitcase, as it looked like it was green, as the foot of it would have been sticking out. A light green flipper type boot would have been sticking out of his suitcase, as his father would have said it was nothing, as he would have left. And that would have been when Deku's father died, So, what happened doing that, Deku would be obsessed with Deku's father's, secret life. What was he doing when he died? Everything like that, going police reports and other things like that, spending the majority of his high school life on his free time trying to figure out what happened to his dad. As this canon, Deku would have also been a little bit more, caring for himself, meaning that Deku would have started caring for himself, learning other forms of, defense. As Deku wouldn't really know much defense, but he would know a little bit of karate, and also Deku would have worked out a little bit. Him having the same body as, let's say, someone like Tokiyami. Tokiyami's a pretty jacked, but he's not as jacked or as ripped as Deku doing like season 3 or season 4. So what happened is, Deku has a same build as him in canon, but a little bit more skinnier and not as perfected, but just a little bit of muscle to give him like an edge in a fight against any normal crook or teenage scum that's trying to, shank him on the side of the street or something like that. So Deku basically uses all of his time to figure out what happened to his dad. As we can switch years and years, the time gap, as Deku's about, let's say, 15. As Deku's about 15, as he's, in school being bullied by Bakugo, as Deku still fights back against Bakugo. Not still, but he does fight back against Bakugo in this canon. As Bakugo tries to bully him, and it always ends up in a fight, or one of them fighting each other. Deku's only won at least 5 of their fights, and it's been about 50 in the last 3 to 4 school years. They've, started to fight against each other, and Deku started to fight back when he was getting bullied. Now, Deku would have, been bullied by Bakugo multiple times, but him having the heart to fight back, but always wanting to be a hero deep down inside. But even though he was quirkless, he couldn't really do much, As Deku would have gone back home after the last day of school, when he was supposed to meet the sludge villain, Deku would have ran into his father's old work friend. As his father's old work friend would have looked at Deku and would have said, this is Sashi's kid. Looks just like him. Red hair, great eyes, a little bit more skinnier than I thought. But as Deku would have been confused, saying, "What are you talking about?" As nowhere it would go pitch black. As Deku would have been knocked out from behind. As Deku would have woken up in some sort of warehouse. As Deku would have been chained down. As Deku would have looked, and it would be 3 type of mob gangsters or 3 type of crooks, basically asking him, what did your father do? Like, where did he hide the suit? As Deku would have been confused, saying, what do you mean? As he just said, "Don't play coy with me, boy. Where did your father hide the suit?" Now Deku would be very confused, saying, "I don't know what you're talking about." As the man would have said, maybe he doesn't know what we're talking about. As he would have started laughing, saying, "Of course you know." As he would have ordered one of the men to start to break some of Deku's fingers. As Deku would have been grabbed by the hand, his hand being uncuffed and his hand being put onto another separate, pretty much, table being chained down there, as he would have been told to shut up, as he would have stabbed a butcher knife through Deku's palm of his hand. As Deku would have yelled out in pain, as the guy would have said, "Where is the suit, boy? I know your father told you. He must have." As he says, "My father died when I was 9 years old. I don't know what he did before he died." As he would have said, "If you find out you have something to do with the suit, we will kill you, kid." And pretty much he orders the other man, the more bigger, bulky guy that stabbed Deku in the hand, to pull the knife out and to get him, some medical attention. As they leave the warehouse, not leaving a trace of them behind, but leaving Deku there in a pool of blood with his own hand bleeding out, as they call the police from a untraceable phone call. As the police and the ambulance show up and they treat Deku. As Deku tells them about what happens, but he remembers that, or it comes to him that the men were in the shadows the whole time and they didn't show their face the whole time. As Deku would have noticed, the main thing, a spiral or some sort of very unique spiral type tattoo on the big guy's hand that stabbed him the big guy's left arm that stabbed him in the hand. As Deku would have, remembered that for, a pretty long time. And about 2 months would have gone by, because this would be near the 10-month arc training. 2 months would have gone by, and Deku would have been thinking hard and good about what was going on with his father. And as Deku would go to his house, as he would have been, just checking the mail, as he would have seen some sort of mail, as it would have been some delayed mail from his father, years of delayed mail, as it would have been a mail card, some sort of will for Deku, as pretty much this mail card would have been, just to say, delayed for certain purposes to give to Deku when he turns 19, but for some reason it was given earlier. Now this card was supposed to be when Deku turned 19, but the post company, pretty much delivered it very differently and a little bit earlier, a lot more earlier. Now Deku would have opened it, as it would have been a very heartwarming letter from his father, saying that his father loved him with all his heart and that he needed to do something to get the money flowing. As he tells Deku that he was a supervillain, Frogman, as his suit or his quirk with his fire abilities. In this canon, Deku's father had a Toad quirk, a quirk basically like Toad's quirk in X-Men, but a lot more stronger, as he would have had frog-like abilities like a super jump, even rivaling that of Hulk's super jump, also having superhuman strength, even being able to go toe-to-toe with Captain America type super strength in his legs that would have given him like a really big, pretty much edge over a person in a fight if they mainly just did kickboxing. So basically Deku's father mainly has superhuman strength in his legs and also had frog type, well, not frog type ability, but he would have superhuman agility as well. Not Spider-Man levels of agility, but maybe normal levels of agility, being able to flip and dodge pretty much the average kick or punch from a person or even a superhero. Him also being able to do a bunch of other things, as he would also have a elongated tail, an elongated tongue, or retractable tongue, Deku's father having that just as his quirk, as he would also have a type of acid spit, as he would have been able to switch through normal, spit to acid spit in a second. So that's basically Deku's father's quirk, or his power set. He became a villain going by the name of Frogman and started to terrorize, Japan, as he would have fought against All Might a few times, but him trying to do better to his family, as he would have wanted to become a vigilante, but also still do a little bit of thieving on the side, as he would have tried to leave the, villain of corporation he was on, but All for One wouldn't let that happen, as he would have murdered Deku's father in cold blood. Now, things are gonna go down when Deku finds out, but for now, a lot more is to that story about Deku's father dying, but I want to get into that maybe in part 3 or later on in the series about Deku's father's death and really everything about how he died and why he died, exactly why. But we can switch away from that as we can switch to Deku basically reading at this letter, as he would have seen that it was an address to a nearby pretty much storage facility that Deku's father had access to, as he would have gone there, as he would have been pretty much opened up the storage facility, as it would have been pretty much nothing but a blue suitcase, as he would have grabbed it, as he would have opened it, it having a green light flash in his eyes, checking it, as it would have had some sort of eye scanner, as Deku would have been, scanned, as he would have been, the new owner of the suitcase, as the suitcase would have turned green for no reason, but he would have looked at the suitcase and would have seen a green and dark green suit, as he would have grabbed it, as he would have put it on, as Deku would have been very much confused but also pretty excited for this, as Deku would have started to play around with it, as he would have gone to Deku Beach, putting the suit on there, as in this canon, Deku Beach would have been a lot more cleaner because Mirio and All Might would have been trained at Deku Beach, and 2 months would have gone by. So this is about to be like 3 months later in canon, and 10-month art training, All Might and Mirio being home at this time, and Deku training pretty late, as Deku would have started to do his training for months and months on end, him doing kicks, flips, punches, dodges, and all sorts of other things, training, using those months to build up more fighting skills, as eventually Deku would have signed up for the entry exams, as Deku, let's just say, go over his skills. Deku would have learned kickboxing, more karate, ninjutsu, straight up boxing, and also slap boxing, and also, I think, being able to wield nunchucks, and also being a pretty good marksman, and also learning how to, pretty much shoot an arrow very precisely, even rivaling that of Green Arrow's skills, as Deku would also learn how to, pretty much, let's just say, Deku knows how to build a bomb from literally nothing. So Deku got a pretty good set of skills built up. Also got his same body and physique he got doing the 10-month art training in canon, but a lot more perfected. So yeah, but what happened after that, Deku would have, pretty much trained with the suit, becoming more one with it, as the suit would have been very high tech, it being made by his father, as in this canon, I didn't mention this before, but Deku was a pretty exceptionally smart dude, him being about, not top of his class because he doesn't want to stand out, but him deep down inside being incredibly smart, even Harvard levels of smart. So Deku did some tweaks with the suit, as the suit is highly high tech, as let's go over the powers of this suit. This suit obviously has, like in the comics, Frogman's main ability is super jumping, or frog jumping, as Deku's suit has friction type pads around it, as he can ricochet off walls when he jumps into a pretty much solid object, like a person, or a wall, or the floor, or a car, or anything like that he can't easily move or kick out of the way by himself. So Deku can basically ricochet off the walls with these paddings without even leaving a scratch on his body, or even feeling him hitting the wall. As Deku also can jump pretty far, about a skyscraper times 3 type height at full maximum power, he can jump pretty high. And with that jump comes a lot of strength in his legs, as the most tech in his body is on his lower legs. Or the most tech in the suit is on the lower legs, and also the fist. As his legs can pretty much kick through solid concrete, steel, and even something like titanium. Also being able to even rival or even match All Might's Detroit Smash with him just doing a simple karate type side kick at full strength. So that's what happened. So basically what happened is doing this, Deku would have started to mess around with some sort of collapsible tech with the suit, as he would have been able to collapse the suit and give it a type of a type of outfit or color changer, as the suit would have been able to shapeshift into different outfits. So what happened is Deku could shapeshift the suit to different outfits, and the suit automatically cleaned itself and healed itself at any time. So it would be able to heal itself from scratches, stains, cuts, or even being burned. So Deku's suit would instantly be a universal outfit for any of his needs. So Deku's suit would have been awesome, as he would have been able to wear it any time, giving off the illusion that he has a quirk. So what happened is doing this, Deku would have been able to collapse his suit into other things, as his suit could also be collapsed into a wristband or a bracelet, as his suit, when it collapsed into a bracelet or a wristband, it's basically just a green wristband or a green bracelet that looks like fabric over beads. So basically, it's a pretty cool, pretty much version of the Frogman suit. As also, if for instance, it just looks exactly like the MCU Frogman suit, just to make it a little bit more serious, because I don't want it to be like the comic book Frogman suit that overall is just, super corny. But yeah, so basically what happened is doing this, pretty much Deku would have signed up for the entry exams, and also I forgot to mention the other things about the suit, the other powers, except other than the super strength and super frog jumping and ricochet powers. He also has a type of head-up display, but not as unique or high-tech as Tony Stark's Iron Man suits, but enough to give him he basically has a Google left, right eye pretty much tab that he can open up by looking at it, as it basically gives him any information he needs on the fly about a villain or a person's background history that he can find on the web or in a more deeper, darker crevices of the internet. So yeah, also basically Deku's suit and the arms can give him some pretty good upper body strength, about enough to pretty much equal Batman's normal body strength, because Batman's at peak human physical condition, and Batman can lift about more than 1,000 pounds a day for his normal regimen. I think that's right in the canon, yeah. So what happened is, Deku has about the same amount of upper body strength as Batman with the suit on, as Deku's body and strength is kind of limited when his suit is collapsed into an outfit. So yeah, but basically what happened is Deku would have gone to UA, and he would have just pretty much had his suit collapse into a darker green version of his jumpsuit in canon, as it would have looked like his jumpsuit in canon that he wore to the entry exams, but with a darker green type shade. So what would happen is Deku would have gone there, as he would have signed up, as he would have done the written exam pretty well, getting a pretty good score, as he would have started to do the actual exam that we all want to see. As Deku would have gotten ready, as he would have, meeted up with Ida, same, as pretty much he would have just, leave Ida alone, and he wouldn't bump into Ochako though, but you guys can decide who should be the ship for this one. Actually, never mind, I'm probably most likely going to ship Deku with Froppy. So what happened is, Deku would have gone and would have gotten ready, as it would have started happening, and everything would have gone, as they would have been told to go, because there's no real countdowns in a real fight as a hero, as they all book it, as Deku instantly jumps over the whole thing without anybody else even getting to cross it first, as Deku would have jumped over the giant wall or gate, as he would have jumped in there first before anybody else, him kicking through some zero pointers, as he would have started to kick through them and punch them through walls and other things like that, as he would have used his surroundings pretty much near him, as he would have grabbed crowbars and other broken pieces of metal, using them as bats or clubs, as he would have hit the robots with full strength, knocking them down and even cutting them in half sometimes if he hits them hard enough and gets enough momentum. As Deku would have started to punch them more and more, eventually taking them out pretty quickly, eventually coming to the 0-pointer. As Deku would have booked it, as he would have stopped it when, well, he would have heard a girl screaming for help, and this would have been Ochaku. Now Ochaku would have tried to push it off of her, as Deku would have ran over there, him kicking the rebel off of her, grabbing her, and running off, or not running off, but jumping up, as he would have jumped to building, eventually coming to Recovery Girl, dropping her off there and jumping back and forth, as he would have been jumping and jumping, and eventually crossing by Froppy, him seeing both of them jump at the same time in the air, looking at each other with pretty much, well, just straight up, like a first glance, like love, like first sight, like love, like straight up love. Both of their eyes, as they would have been distracted as of nowhere, a giant 0-pointer hand would have hit Deku, flying him or hitting him across the fake city, making him send off in the air, as Deku would have fell into a piece of rubble, as his suit would have been able to, well, protect him. As his suit would have been pretty durable, it being able to take at least about, let's say, 4 to 6 grenades to the face before the suit completely fails. So what happened is Deku would have gotten up from the rubble, him being kind of bruised on the face because he wouldn't have a mask on, as he would have had his hands kind of cut up a little bit, but Deku would have limped back to the other side, getting to Recovery Girl and leaving there a couple hours later after the siren had gone off. Deku would have gone home, waited, and he would have eventually got the note from UA. He would have told his mom, but his mom would have said, "I'm happy for you," I guess, as she would have just continued drinking, as she would have just ignored Deku. As Deku would have pretty much not really been, off guard, because he always expected this to happen with his mother. Even if he got into Harvard, his mother wouldn't really be that surprised, or she wouldn't really be that, well, let's just say proud of Deku, because she just lost all interest in Deku, and she still would care if Deku died, but she doesn't really want to be a part of his life, just not really wanting to, well, be there for him, just neglecting him on purpose. So what happens, Deku, gets in there from UA and plays the video, as Deku eventually, gets a pretty good score, as Deku goes to UA the next day, as Deku goes to UA and basically walks into class one day. What happens is basically Deku meets up with other students in the class, making friends pretty quickly, as he would have became friends with Froppy, playing with her like mad at the first day, as Froppy would have tried to kill him, but eventually pretty much it would have been stopped when Azal would have walked into class instead of being in class already in this canon. As Azal would have told the class to get ready and get in their gym suits, as they're going to be doing combat training. Not combat training, but they're going to be doing quirk assessments to figure out if you're actually worth being here in, UA. As he would have gone into the locker room, Deku would have gone into the rest of the locker room, him using his suit or his outfit, shifting it into the pretty much uniforms, as he would have still had his suit on. As Deku would have gone outside, as he would have been told to throw the ball first, since he got one of the highest scores in the entrance exams. As Deku would have grabbed the ball, chucking it as far as possible, and making a pretty good score, about the same score as in canon. Now, a long jump, Deku would have easily dominated the long jump. Right, Deku would have gotten about 3rd place, and also pretty much group test strength, Deku would have gotten about 5th place, about 5th or 6th place. Not 5th or 4th place, yeah, 5th or 4th place. Now, what happened after that, Deku would have been told to go home, getting all the students getting their syllabus and walking home. As Deku would have, catched up with a Froppy and started to talk to her a little bit. And pretty much eventually would have, about to ask her number, but choking up and saying goodbye, see you later. See you later. As he would have ran off, as the story would have ended off there. And I'm going to leave it off here, guys. So, pretty much in part 2, I'll be going into more of the deeper things between Deku and Deku's father and his, relationship with the League of Villains, and also his father also knowing, let's just say, a certain blue fire user in My Hero Academia. Now, I'm going to leave it off here, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and as always, guys,
Have a blessed day.